They released deadly gas. Soldier sniffed, asked, "Is that mint?" The gas came without warning. One moment the battlefield was loud with engines, distant fire, and shouted orders. The next, a low mist rolled across the broken ground, hugging the dirt as if it were alive. It shimmered faintly under the pale light of the distant star, almost beautiful in a quiet, deadly way. From orbit, the alien coalition commanders watched with calm confidence. This gas was not just another weapon. It was the result of centuries of research, tested on dozens of species. It attacked the nervous system directly, shutting down muscle control, breathing, and consciousness in seconds. No armor could stop it. No known biology could resist it. The humans were finished. On the ground, warning alarms screamed inside human helmets. Red symbols flashed across visors. The air filters kicked into full power, but the readings were bad, very bad. The gas was already inside the perimeter. "Chemical attack confirmed," a calm voice reported over the human command channel. "All units seal suits and hold position." The soldiers obeyed without panic. They had trained for this. They always trained for this. Humans had learned long ago that survival favored preparation, not fear. Still, even training could not change the truth. The sensors did not lie. This gas was designed to kill. The mist grew thicker. It crawled over ruined vehicles, spilled into craters, and wrapped around boots. Visibility dropped fast. The battlefield became quiet, as if the world itself was holding its breath. Private Daniel Rook stood near the front line, rifle ready, heart steady. He had seen worse days on worse worlds. His suit felt tight, the air inside slightly dry. He checked his readouts again. Something felt off. The numbers were bad, but his body didn't match them. No dizziness, no weakness, no burning in the lungs. He frowned. "Command," he said over squad comms. "Anyone else not feeling anything?" There was a pause. Then another soldier answered. "Negative symptoms so far." A third voice joined in. "Same here. Sensors say lethal, but I feel normal." Rook tilted his head slightly. A faint smell reached him through the suit's filters. Clean, sharp, almost familiar. Without fully thinking about it, he reached up and disengaged his helmet seal. "Rook, what are you doing?" the squad leader snapped. Rook lifted the helmet off his head. The gas touched his face. Cool, light. He took a cautious breath, then another. He blinked. "Is that mint?" he asked. Silence hit the comm channel like a dropped object. "What?" several voices said at once. Rook inhaled again, slower this time. The smell was clearer now, not exactly mint but close. Like something between leaves and old toothpaste. "I mean," he said, confused but calm, "it smells kinda fresh." The squad leader swore. "Put your helmet back on, now." But Rook was still standing, breathing, thinking, alive. Other soldiers watched him through the fog. A few seconds passed, then 10, then 20. Rook didn't fall. From orbit, alien commanders leaned forward in their seats. Their instruments showed the gas fully deployed. Concentration levels were perfect. The humans should have been dead already. Instead, their feeds showed movement. Human shapes walked through the mist. One by one, more soldiers removed their helmets. Some coughed lightly. Some laughed in disbelief. None collapsed. "What is happening?" an alien analyst whispered. The gas was functioning exactly as designed, against every known species, except this one. On the ground, human command quickly realized something was wrong, but in a very different way than expected. Medical officers pulled live biodata from the soldiers' suits. Heart rates normal, oxygen stable, neural activity unchanged. The gas wasn't killing them. It wasn't even slowing them down. "Advance carefully," command ordered after a brief, tense pause. "Maintain formation. Do not underestimate the enemy." The humans moved forward, boots crunching over rubble, rifles up. The mist parted around them as they walked, their silhouettes growing clearer to the alien defenders watching from fortified positions. Those defenders began to panic. They had been trained to trust the gas. It was their final answer, their ultimate weapon. They had used it before. Entire cities had fallen silent within moments. Now the humans were walking through it. Some aliens fired blindly into the fog. The shots went wide. Others froze, unable to understand what they were seeing. Rook replaced his helmet but left the seal loose, still confused. "Command," he said, "permission to report something strange." "Go ahead," Command replied. "I think their gas is outdated," he said carefully. "Or wrong. Or something." In a distant command chamber, a human science officer stared at incoming data, eyes wide. Chemical breakdown scrolled past faster than she could read. Her mouth slowly curved into a disbelieving smile. "It's not outdated," she said quietly. "It's familiar." She pulled up old human records, crowd control agents, industrial byproducts, chemical spills from Earth's early space age, substances humanity had learned to survive the hard way. "This compound," she continued, "is similar to several chemicals humans adapted to generations ago. It triggers receptors we no longer rely on the same way. Our bodies learn to ignore it. Ignore." The word echoed through command. On the battlefield, the humans reached the first alien defensive line. The aliens there hesitated, weapons shaking. They had expected corpses. They got soldiers who looked mildly annoyed. Rook raised his rifle but didn't fire. He spoke through external speakers instead. "You should probably put masks on," he said calmly. "This stuff doesn't bother us much." The aliens didn't answer. Some dropped their weapons. Others ran. The fog continued to spread, useless now, drifting like a failed promise. From orbit, the coalition commanders finally understood their mistake. They had built a weapon for logic, for clean systems and predictable biology. Humans were neither. They were the result of chaos, pollution, disasters, and survival by stubborn refusal to die. And this was only the beginning. The fog did not stop spreading, but its meaning had changed. What was meant to be death now became confusion. The alien defensive line, once confident behind sealed armor and chemical shields, began to fall apart without a single human shot fired. Some aliens fled deeper into their bunkers. Others stood frozen, staring at the human soldiers walking calmly toward them through the gas. From orbit, the coalition command chamber was filled with sharp voices and rising panic. Analysts checked readings again and again, convinced their instruments were broken. The gas concentration was correct. The dispersal pattern was flawless. Every calculation said the humans should be dead. Yet the live feeds showed them moving, communicating, even talking casually. "This is impossible," one commander said, his voice tight. "No organism can survive direct exposure." A science officer replied with growing fear, "They are not just surviving, they are adapting in real time." On the surface, human command moved quickly. This was not victory yet. Humans had learned long ago that when something worked too well, it often hid a trap. Medical drones hovered near the soldiers, scanning skin, lungs, blood chemistry. Data streamed back nonstop. The results were steady: minor irritation, slight increase in alertness, nothing lethal. Private Rook walked beside his squad, helmet now fully sealed again, though the visor showed his relaxed expression. His mind kept returning to the smell. Mint-like, clean, almost refreshing. "Never thought I'd say this," one soldier muttered over comms, "but I've smelled worse on training days." Rook let out a short laugh. "Yeah, remember the bio-drills on Luna? That was way worse." They kept moving. Alien resistance weakened the closer the humans came. Some defenders fired again, but their aim was poor. Panic had replaced discipline. The gas had been their final solution. Without it, they were just soldiers facing humans who were not afraid. One alien officer tried to rally his troops, shouting orders in sharp clicks and tones. His words failed to stop the fear spreading through the ranks. He watched a human medic kneel in the fog to help a wounded alien who had collapsed from his own gas. That moment broke something inside him. Humans were not supposed to do that. They were supposed to fall. Across the battlefield, more alien units surrendered. Weapons were dropped. Shields powered down. The gas still floated uselessly above them, ignored by the humans and deadly only to its creators. Back on the human flagship, emergency meetings were already underway. Scientists, commanders, and strategists crowded into shared channels. This was more than a single battle. This was a revelation. A senior medical officer spoke calmly but firmly. This gas attacks neural pathways that humans reduced reliance on centuries ago. Pollution, industrial accidents, chemical warfare. Our species was forced to adapt. Our bodies rerouted functions, strengthened filters, changed responses. A strategist added, they designed this weapon for clean evolution. Humans evolved in dirt. That sentence spread fast through command. The coalition, meanwhile, was unraveling. Orders contradicted each other. Some commanders demanded a higher concentration release. Others argued it would only worsen their own casualties. One junior analyst quietly pulled historical data on Earth. What she found made her hands shake. Humans had lived through plagues that wiped out millions. They had walked through poisoned cities and radioactive wastelands. They had not survived because they were strong, but because they refused to give up. On the ground, Rook's squad reached the inner perimeter of the alien base. The gas thinned here, pushed aside by ventilation systems that now worked against the defenders. Aliens inside coughed and collapsed. Humans moved through with masks on, dragging stunned enemies to safety. "This is insane," the squad leader said softly. "They're killing themselves with their own weapon." Rook nodded. They trusted it too much. The base fell without a final stand. Not because humans overwhelmed it with force, but because the defenders lost the will to fight. The idea that humans could not be stopped by their deadliest weapon shattered everything they believed. As the last pockets of resistance surrendered, Human Command issued a ceasefire order for the sector. Medical aid was extended to wounded aliens. Prisoners were treated with care. The message was clear. Humanity did not need to prove dominance through cruelty. From orbit, the coalition finally ordered a retreat. Ships pulled back, engines burning hard. No victory announcement was made. There was nothing to celebrate. Instead, fear spread faster than the gas ever had. Across neutral systems, intercepted footage began to circulate. Humans walking through chemical fog. Humans removing helmets. A soldier calmly asking if the gas smelled like mint. Civilizations watched in silence. Historians would later mark this day not as a major battle, but as the moment the galaxy realized something fundamental about humanity. They were not unbeatable because of weapons or numbers. They were unbeatable because they had been tested by their own world and survived. And somewhere in the drifting remains of a failed chemical cloud, the galaxy's understanding of humans changed forever. The battle zone grew quiet in a way that felt unnatural. Not the calm that came after victory, with cheers and movement, but a heavy silence filled with drifting gas and abandoned positions. The fog still floated across the ground, pale and useless now, no longer feared by the humans who walked through it with steady steps. Human forces secured the area slowly. They did not rush. Every soldier knew this strange advantage could make the enemy desperate. History had taught them that fear often caused more danger than confidence. Private Rook helped guide a group of surrendered aliens toward a safe holding area. The aliens moved stiffly, their breathing uneven behind cracked masks. They kept glancing at the humans, eyes wide with confusion and fear. One of them finally spoke through a translator device. "Why are you alive?" Rook paused. He looked at the alien, then at the fog around them. "Honestly," he said, "we've dealt with worse." The alien did not understand. That only deepened his fear. In orbit, coalition ships regrouped in chaos. No one had prepared for this outcome. The gas attack had been the final step in a long strategy. Without it, the entire war plan collapsed. Arguments filled the command channels. This sector is lost. We must deploy a stronger variant. They will adapt again. A senior commander slammed his clawed hand against the console. Enough! We do not know what we are facing anymore. Scientists tried to explain, but their voices shook. Humans were not supposed to work this way. Evolution did not prepare species for poisons on purpose. Yet humans had poisoned their own world again and again and survived each time. One analyst said quietly, "They are not immune, they are flexible." That word changed everything. On the ground, human engineers collected samples of the gas. They worked carefully, sealing containers and tagging data. Every detail mattered. Understanding this weapon could prevent future disasters. A medical officer approached Rook after another scan. "Still feeling fine?" "Yes, ma'am." "No headaches? No breathing trouble?" "No." She nodded slowly. "Good, but stay alert. Sometimes effects show later." Rook nodded. He was calm, but he understood the risk. Humans survived because they respected danger even when it failed. As hours passed, reports came in from other fronts. The gas had been deployed in multiple locations. Everywhere, the result was the same. Human troops advanced. Alien defenses collapsed. The psychological impact was worse than any physical loss. Alien soldiers had been trained to fear humans' weapons, not their bodies. Now they faced an enemy that could walk through death itself. Rumors spread fast. Some said humans were immune to all chemicals. Others said they could adapt instantly to anything. Both were wrong, but fear did not care about truth. Human command realized this quickly. Emergency meetings focused not on attack plans but on control. They could not allow myths to grow unchecked. Fear could push the galaxy into reckless action. A broadcast was prepared. It was simple, honest, calm. Human leadership explained that they were not invincible. They explained that the gas had failed due to specific biological factors and past adaptations. They warned against escalation. They asked for talks. Some alien governments listened. Others did not. A rogue coalition faction, refusing to accept defeat, prepared another strike. This one would not use gas. It would use kinetic force, aimed at a human supply hub behind the front lines. The attack came without warning. Missiles tore through empty space, burning toward a logistics station filled with fuel, food, and wounded soldiers. Human defense systems reacted instantly, intercepting most, but not all. 2 missiles got through. The explosions shook the station. Metal screamed. Fires broke out. Alarms echoed through corridors. Rook was thrown against a wall as shockwaves rippled through the structure. His helmet cracked slightly. Pain flashed through his shoulder. For a moment the world spun. Then training took over. He pushed himself up and ran toward the nearest fire zone. Other soldiers did the same. No panic, no shouting, just movement. Medical teams worked fast. Engineers sealed breaches. Fires were contained. Casualties were fewer than expected. The attack failed, but the message was clear. Some enemies would not stop. In the aftermath, human command hardened its stance. Defensive lines were reinforced. Patrols increased. Diplomacy continued, but with caution. The coalition's internal divide deepened. Some leaders argued for peace, shaken by what they had seen. Others demanded total war before humans became even harder to stop. A captured alien officer was brought before a human council. He stood stiffly, his posture a mix of pride and fear. "You survived our strongest weapon," he said through a translator. "How are we meant to fight you?" A human general answered calmly. "You're not." The alien blinked. "Then what do you want?" "An end to this," the general said, "before more lives are wasted." The alien officer studied the human faces around him. They were tired, scarred, not cruel. "You come from a poisoned world," he said slowly. "Yes," the general replied, "and we learned from it." That lesson echoed far beyond the room. Across the galaxy, more footage leaked. Humans helping alien wounded. Humans walking through gas clouds. humans standing firm after missile strikes. Fear turned into something else, respect, and for some, something closer to dread. Rook sat later in a quiet corner of the station, his shoulder bandaged. He stared out a small viewport at the stars beyond the drifting fog. He did not feel like a hero. He felt like a soldier who had been lucky and human. A fellow soldier sat beside him. You ever think about how close that was? All the time, Rook said. Think they'll try again? Rook nodded slowly. Probably, but now they know something. What's that? Rook looked back at the stars. We don't break easy. Far away in alien space, emergency councils gathered. Old assumptions were torn apart. New rules were written. The galaxy had tested humanity with certainty, and certainty had lost. The war did not end after the gas failed. Instead, it changed shape. Across the contested systems, silence spread where battles once burned. Fleets slowed. Front lines stopped moving forward. Everyone was watching everyone else, trying to understand what had just happened. Human command knew this pause was dangerous. History showed that moments like this often led to terrible choices. When fear replaced certainty, desperate actions followed. So humanity spoke. They did not shout. They did not threaten. They sent calm messages through open diplomatic channels, translated into every major galactic language. The message was simple. Escalation would only lead to more loss, and there were no winners left to claim. Some alien governments listened carefully. Others hesitated. A few refused to listen at all. On the human side, soldiers remained deployed, alert but restrained. Orders were clear: defend, do not provoke. The galaxy needed time to breathe. Private Rook was reassigned to a joint security detail at a temporary ceasefire station. The station floated near a neutral moon, chosen for talks between human diplomats and alien representatives willing to meet. It felt strange to stand guard without active combat. His body still carried the tension of battle. His shoulder ached when he moved too fast. Yet the quiet felt heavier than gunfire. Alien delegates arrived in carefully escorted ships. Their movements were cautious, their expressions guarded. They had come to negotiate, but fear followed them like a shadow. One alien diplomat paused as he passed Rook. His eyes lingered on the human's exposed face behind a transparent shield. "You walked through the gas," the alien said softly. Rook nodded. "Yeah," the alien swallowed. "Was it difficult?" Rook thought for a moment. "It was strange, but no, not difficult." The alien said nothing more and continued on, his posture stiff. Inside the station, discussion stretched on for hours. Human representatives explained again and again that the gas incident was not a miracle, not immunity, not magic. It was history. It was adaptation. Some aliens understood, others struggled. One scientist from a neutral species spoke during a session, her voice trembling slightly. "Your species survived self-inflicted extinction-level threats multiple times. Why?" A human biologist answered honestly. "Because we had no choice." That answer unsettled the room. Outside the talks, human analysts monitored growing unrest within the coalition. Internal communications revealed fractures. Accusations flew between commanders. Scientists were blamed. Politicians were blamed. Some even blamed the gas itself, as if it had betrayed them. In truth, their greatest mistake was believing biology followed rules that could not be broken. Meanwhile, a small but dangerous faction within the coalition prepared another plan. They believed fear could still win the war, if aimed not at soldiers but at symbols. Their target would be Earth. Human intelligence detected the plan late, but not too late. A fleet was moving fast, using stealth and misinformation, hoping to strike before humans could respond. Emergency alerts spread through human space. Earth defenses activated immediately. Civilian evacuation protocols began in vulnerable areas. The world that had shaped humanity now prepared to be defended by it. Rook's unit was recalled without explanation. They boarded a transport ship under full combat readiness. No one spoke much. They all felt the weight of what might come. Earth filled the view screens as the ship exited faster than light travel. Blue, green, white, beautiful, fragile. Rook felt something tighten in his chest. The attacking fleet arrived hours later. The battle that followed was brief, but intense. Human defenses were ready. Orbital platforms, fleets, and planetary shields worked together with precision built over centuries of fear-driven preparation. The coalition faction fought hard, but they were outmatched. Their tactics were old, their understanding incomplete. Within minutes, their ships were disabled or destroyed. Survivors surrendered quickly. The attack failed, but its meaning echoed loudly. Human command responded not with rage but with clarity. A galaxy-wide broadcast followed, showing the attempted strike, the defense, and the aftermath. The message was firm. Earth would not be threatened again without consequence. At the same time, human leaders renewed calls for peace, now backed by undeniable proof that escalation only led to loss. The effect was immediate. Coalition governments moved fast to distance themselves from the rogue faction. Arrests were made. Public statements condemned the attack. Talks resumed with urgency. Fear had nearly pushed the galaxy into disaster. Now, fear pushed it toward restraint. Back at the ceasefire station, negotiations took a new tone. Alien delegates spoke more openly. Questions shifted from weapons to survival, from dominance to coexistence. One alien elder addressed the room. We believed perfection was strength, clean systems, predictable life. He looked directly at the humans. We were wrong. Human representatives did not argue. Later, Rook stood again at his post, watching ships depart peacefully. He felt tired in a deep way, but also steady. A fellow soldier leaned against the wall nearby. Think this'll hold? Rook shrugged slightly. I think they finally understand us. Yeah. We're not dangerous because we want to be. We're dangerous because we survived being hurt. Above them, stars drifted quietly. Fleets turned away from conflict zones. Borders softened. The war was not over yet, but for the first time it felt like it could end. And across the galaxy, a new truth settled in. Humanity was no longer underestimated, and no one wanted to find out what else they could survive. The final days of the war did not look like an ending. There were no massive battles, no burning skies, no final charge. Instead, there were meetings, quiet movements of fleets, and long hours of talking. For many, that was harder than fighting. Violence was simple. Understanding was not. Across the galaxy, ceasefire lines became borders instead of front lines. Weapons powered down. Fleets that once hunted each other now kept careful distance. The air felt tense, like a held breath. Human leadership remained cautious. Too much had happened too fast. Trust would not grow overnight. Private Rook stayed assigned to security duty, now aboard a diplomatic station orbiting a neutral star. The station had become a place of constant arrivals and departures. Different species, different shapes, different voices, all coming to talk about a future that had almost been destroyed. Rook watched them pass with quiet attention. Some looked at him with fear, some with curiosity, a few with something like respect. He did not feel like he deserved any of it. Inside the negotiation chambers, the talks reached their most important stage. Representatives from the former coalition stood across from human diplomats. No one pretended anymore. The truth was already known. An alien leader spoke slowly, choosing words with care. We planned for your weapons. We planned for your machines. We did not plan for you. A human diplomat answered just as calmly. Neither did we just kept surviving. That simple statement settled heavily in the room. The final agreement took shape over many hours. No chemical weapons, no biological experiments on sapient life, shared research oversight, mutual defense boundaries, open communication channels. It was not perfect. No agreement ever was, but it was real. When the final terms were accepted, there was no applause, just a quiet sense of relief. News of the treaty spread quickly. Worlds that had feared invasion relaxed. Trade routes reopened. Military alerts dropped to lower levels. Children on distant planets slept without knowing how close everything had come to ending. On Earth, life continued. Cities repaired minor damage from the failed attack. People went back to work, school, and routine. Most never realized how important those ordinary days were. Rook returned home weeks later. He stood on a quiet hill overlooking a small town, the air warm and clean. Grass moved in the wind. Birds flew overhead. The world felt solid beneath his feet. This was what he had fought for. A message arrived on his personal device. A simple notification. He had been cleared for extended leave. He smiled faintly and sat down on the grass. Across the galaxy, reactions to humanity continued to evolve. Military academies rewrote their lessons. Scientists revised their models of life and adaptation. Philosophers debated what it meant to be strong. One phrase kept appearing in reports and discussions. Humans evolved in uncertainty. That idea unsettled many species. Most civilizations had grown in stable environments where change was slow and danger rare. Humanity had grown surrounded by threats, many of their own making. They had learned not to rely on perfect systems. They relied on each other. Months later, a galactic council session opened with a moment of silence, not for the dead alone, but for what almost happened. For the future that nearly vanished. A representative from a once hostile world addressed the assembly. We believed endurance was measured by how little you changed. Humans taught us the opposite. Human delegates listened, not proud, not ashamed, just present. Back on Earth, Rook met with his old squad for the first time since the war ended. They sat around a simple table, eating familiar food, laughing about small things. The tension was gone, but the bond remained. One soldier raised a drink. To surviving, they all raised theirs. To surviving, they echoed. Later that night, Rook walked alone under the open sky. Stars filled the darkness, the same stars he had seen from battlefields and stations and ships. They looked different now, less threatening. He thought about the gas, the fear. The moment everything changed because one weapon did not work as planned. Humanity had not won by being stronger than everyone else. They had won by refusing to break. Far away, in alien space, new generations studied human history. They learned about polluted cities, chemical disasters, wars, recoveries. They learned that humans did not adapt because they wanted to, but because they had to. And they learned to respect that. Years passed. The treaty held. Small conflicts still happened as they always would, but nothing like before. When disagreements grew tense, someone always remembered the fog, the gas, the humans walking through it. And things cooled. Private Rook eventually left the military. He took a quiet job, lived a quiet life. He never told many people what he had done. He did not need to. The galaxy remembered. In time, stories spread, simplified, exaggerated, passed from world to world. Some said a human soldier had breathed deadly gas and laughed. Some said humans were immune to fear. Some said they were unstoppable. The truth was less dramatic and more powerful. Humans were adaptable. And when the galaxy finally understood that, it chose peace. Because no one wanted to find out what humanity would survive next.